Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of the Talk That Talk Show with me, Barry Holmes. And we're here for our 231st episode of the Talk That Talk Show. And, it's just been a great week. Was not able to get in on Friday to deliver you guys an episode, but that's why we made sure to 100% put the effort in to make this possible to record on a Sunday night. I know a lot of us are going to be watching that Sunday night football game, so I appreciate you guys want to spend a little bit of your time with me. Big shout out to Robert Brantley Jr. and then also our people that are tuned in on our Instagram Live and then also on YouTube as well. But once again, I think it's a big time thing to talk about with Joey Votto announcing. Well, basically, for those that don't know, Joey Votto spent about 17 years of his time in a Cincinnati Reds uniform. And if I can remember, as a baseball fan, I do remember a lot of the times of Joey dominating, being an MVP caliber guy and being there for the Cincinnati Reds for a lot of those down years. And I think that what happened with Joey Votto is something that should definitely be talked about, because too often times, and I feel like, what happened to Joey Votto happens to, thousands and millions of Americans, whether you're a professional athlete or whether you're a system guy. But unfortunately, my boy Joey Votto gave 17 years of service to the Cincinnati Reds, and all that they could do for this guy was say, we deserve to Joey Votto deserves more playing time than we can give him. And that way we're gonna let him go. And I think that for an organization to go out there and say that arguably your most touted, most beloved player of Cincinnati that was there through those down times and helped you to get to that spot now to where they were competing for a pennant late into the season, to just throw him away and not give him his so-called flowers like the Miguel Cabreras got or the Derek Jeters got. I think that it's an extreme disservice to people that put in the effort with the company. You put in those long-term hours, and then when you're not of the caliber that you used to be, or when you don't put out that production like you used to work-wise, then they just chew you up and spit you out. And how many times people can say that, where you spent countless years building for a company, and when it came time for you needing them, they spit you out. And I think that that's what really happened here with Joey Votto. Someone of his caliber, someone like him, Joey Votto, a guy that was you could put him as one of those all-time hitters if you look up his stats. But to get a statement, just after the season ends, the guy doesn't even get an off season to decide whether he wants to take a reduced role. They didn't even give him that option. They pretty much said that he deserves more playing time than we can give him. And with the direction of our franchise, it's not including of Joey Votto. And I think that, that's an extremely disrespectful way to treat somebody that was a part of building that up. I mean, the Reds haven't been competitive, if you think about it, since those Pete Rose era. And, a lot of the memories that we do have is Brandon Phillips playing with Joey Votto, devastating the Mets countless times. So, unfortunately, what happened to Joey Votto happens to so many people, whether you're an athlete or not. And it sucks to see people that, give it their all and give it 110% to build up that company, to build up that team, and then at your tail end of your career, you just get spit up and chewed away like you were nothing, And Joey Votto deserves better than that. And I think that another thing that we saw, unfortunately, that deserves it sucks, but we definitely got to mention it. Bobby Knight passing away. I think when you think about competitive basketball, when you think about just competition in general, some of our early memories are Bobby Knight throwing that chair, and I think showing raw emotion. And I think that are there a lot of people out there that show emotion? Yes, but I think that for Bobby Knight, he kind of represented that true passion or that true thirst for wanting to win and instilling that in his players. Whether it was the most talked about or the most appreciated way. I think we've all had coaches that maybe yelled at us a little bit differently, and not all players can, how could I say, take that positively. But I think that to say that Bobby Knight didn't have a major impact on college sports and in competition in general, I think that goes without saying. So, rest in peace to Bobby Knight, one of the greatest to ever do it coaching. And I think that before we started the show, I definitely had to, give a big time shout out to Bobby Knight, man. But I think that it goes without saying how much and how important bowling is. Big shout out to Daniel Gallup, who's tuned in. Sean Peck, my Duck brother. Zishan Abbas. But, I definitely wanted to give out some big time shout outs also to the people that, bowl with me throughout the week. And things that kind of, stood out to me. And I feel like when you're bowling with people, when you see people every single week, and you build this camaraderie and you build that trust within each other when you need to compete and get the most out of each other. When you see people take that next step and elevate their play when you need them, it's some of the greatest moments, and I think it's a great thing to be a part of. And I look forward to seeing. Sure, I love to step up and succeed in those big time situations, but to also see other people step up and show what they're made of. That's what team sports is all about. So I look forward each week to putting on the Talk That Talk Show jerseys with the people that I bowl with. And, I just wanted to give a big time shout out to these people. So first and foremost, I got to give a big time shout out to Tori Holmes, my sister, shooting 608 at Majestic on Thursday. She held our team up, and it was funny when I would, if I had a case of the splits, and every time it seemed like I had a split, Tori would follow me up with a big time strike, and every time I would say, "Hold my dumb ass up." But that's what she really does, is like, hold us all up when it comes down to needing a big time strike and, holding the ship right. Tori does a great job following me up, man. And to be able to say that for us, Talk That Talk Show, a team that they said would not be able to be competitive.
Boo.
They said, would they be able to compete
Boo.
at Majestic
Boo.
without 200 bowlers?
Boo!
We're in second place at Majestic right now.
Say less.
I'm just saying, we're going to keep it rolling. We take it 1 week at a time. But Tori has definitely been a big time help to us. And that 608 that she shot was big. So big time shout out to Tori. And then it's with the, how can I talk about Tori without talking about TK and him shooting 727 at Strathmore? Oh my gosh. When we talk about TK, he's become such a student of the game, and I think that it goes without saying that when you put the effort in, when you put the work in, when you put the time into your game, that's when you see the results start to happen. And that's why those results have become more exponential for TK. And for him to bowl a 727 with no practice at a place that he doesn't bowl at, I'm super proud of the growth that he showed within his game. And I'm excited to see where his game's going to go from there, and where, our team will go as he continues to get better. And then Robert Brantley says, how about my man TK held us up on Saturday with 727? Yep, we just had to mention that, man. That was huge. And then also, this is somebody that will get a ring for this performance. We got to give a big time shout out to Lenny for shooting 823 at Bolero on Wednesday. That was a big time clutch performance from Lenny, and I think my girlfriend even said, "I've never seen you get so hyped for someone else before." But I was just truly happy to be a part of that. A lot of times I've been on the opposite end of the 800 where Ernie's maybe shooting it on me, pause, or somebody else might have been shooting 800. But, to be on that side of an 800 with your teammate as you needed it. I mean, we were bowling against my sister, and like I said, I just mentioned her before as a killer, someone that's definitely increasing her game as well. We were out trying to get that dub, and it wasn't anything personal, but I think that's one of the things that we look forward to as a family is competing together, but also those rare times when we can compete against each other. I think it's a litmus test that we always need. So to see Lenny come up in a big time matchup and truly kill it, it was huge, man. And then, for me to just, chug along throughout the week, put in my little 600s here and there. Me and Tyree had a big performance on Tuesday, which vaulted us in the 8th place on Tuesday. We had to finally clean up Pop's mess. But that's been my little joke with Pops. But, me and Tyree been on an incredible run. I'm happy that he's out there in Barcelona right now, enjoying himself to the fullest. That's what it's all about, man. I just truly look forward to those matchups and bowling with people and seeing us all take those next steps forward. We have Brian who says that's the way bowling always is. You want to cheer those people on no matter what side you're on to see them shoot that high and have a great night for themselves, especially if it helps your team. For sure, man. I feel like when you go out there in that hateful mentality and then be like, oh, this guy sucks, or, he can't bowl with me, he's shitty. I feel like you will be humbled plenty of times in this game. So I've really just tried to come out with the mentality of something that Strike Tyson said on this show a couple of years back. But he said there's no defense in bowling, man. It's only you against yourself. And I really took that mentality into Jersey Lanes on Saturday when Eric needed a sub, and he said he wanted somebody he could trust, and he said he needed me. So I was like, I got you. And the last time I was at Jersey Lanes, I bowled like absolute ass, terrible, trash. I remember my arm was about to fall off, and I just didn't have a handle on it correctly. And I think it was huge because I came in with a different mentality this time. And I think it was a buildup of, seeing all the different people, seeing the success of TK on a Thursday, seeing the success of a Lenny on the Wednesday, being a part of a sweep with my brother on Tuesday. It all led to that, confidence or that mentality going into, Jersey Lanes. And I feel like sometimes, being that Jersey Lanes isn't somewhere that I bowl often, I just feel like I'm just trying to do enough to get by, or just do enough, just trying to figure it out. And, I just came into that mentality of, I am a tough bowler, I can do this shit. And, I kind of went into that villain mode that, sometimes I have, over at Bolero or sometimes at Majestic, where, I think that at times when people don't expect you to do something, that's where you get those surprises. Like, oh my gosh, sheesh, he got one of those, And, I think that when it comes down to it, after you get past a certain amount of times of proving to people that you can do this, and when you get down to clutch stages, we call them the clutch frames, the 9th and 10th frames, when you continuously show up and have success, I think that's when you can cross over into that threshold of being a villain in those big time frames. And what I mean by that is, and I think TK's starting to see this as well too, is when you transition into people not rooting for you to get that shot, but now when you transition to when they hope you miss that shot. And I think that that's a big time difference. And sometimes people can't handle that fact of when you get to that certain level and when you elevate your game to where now you got people cheering on you to miss. You have people that don't want you to get that next high set. That, they're happy to beat you in brackets to take your money, And I think that, it's a big time step, but it's something that only the best can take. And only the people that are consistently in the pay window and people that have a strong savvy in their mental, that's are the people that continue to get their game better. Someone like a Tim Sikoria, I love bowling with him at Greenbrook back before they had the strings there, because he was somebody that no matter what, even if he was bowling like dirt, I could still, not take my foot off the gas pedal because he's going to figure it out. And I have confidence that he will strike, And I think that once you cross that threshold again of, people not looking for you, oh my goodness, he hit that, to now where you're crossing where, oh my gosh, I hope he misses. He hasn't missed all night. I remember one time Dad was, we were at some tournament and somebody said to my dad, they're like, Barry, do you know that was the first time you've missed all game? And Dad was like, who's counting, But people see that when you're starting to kick up. So, I'm just, this is a big time shout out to, again, all the people who I bowl with throughout the week, man. You guys are the reason why we're in 3rd place on Wednesday, 2nd place on Thursday, 8th place and rising on Tuesday. Again, I love bowling with the people that I have. We have a great team. We got great chemistry. And I hope that chemistry can extend to my New York Knicks, man. Because I tell you what, even though we had such a promising end to the season last year, I think for a lot of us Knicks fans, we were itching and waiting for the NBA season to start back up again. And unfortunately, we've kind of had this staggered start to where we have a 2-4 record. And, I was there at the Knicks home opener, disappointed when we lost to Boston because we gave it up. But I think the overarching theme over these first maybe 6 games that we've seen is that the New York Knicks are playing the same New York Knicks basketball. And it's not a great thing because when you look at it, we're looking for the ball movement. We're looking for some sort of motion. I know my boy Abe, he's a big time Knicks fan. He's looking for the late game adjustments from Thibodeau. And what we're seeing is it's the same isolation basketball, dribble with Julius Randle, or the same thing with Jalen Brunson where he's trying to take on 3 people. And that's just not going to cut it throughout an 82-game season, nor will it cut it in the playoffs. It didn't work against the Miami Heat, and it for damn sure ain't going to work in the playoffs this year. So I'm looking for the Knicks. We're going to the game tomorrow. Big shout out to Doc. One of the things that, again, we always try to remind ourselves to treat ourselves, do things, do the things that you want to do because, we're both hardworking individuals. So be able to kick our feet up and watch the New York Knickerbockers and be a part of that atmosphere. That's something that we look forward to. So, I love my date nights with Doc in Madison Square Garden. It's something that we look forward to. But I'm tired of seeing us losing, these matchups. It was so funny. I'm on the train ride back, and, Doc's like, oh, what's wrong? Like, what is wrong with you? Cheer up. I'm like, the Knicks lost, man. It should be hurting, As a Knicks fan, you put your heart and soul and you're so invested in this team just to see him at the end blow a big-time lead. That's one of the most frustrating things because we've seen this countless time in and time out. The Knicks have to get better at closing out these games, and I think that'll come, with some more ball motion, with some fluidity on the offensive end. Maybe get the flex in there, do something, but to be able to just dump it to Julius Randle, who's, let me see, he's shooting 27% from the field this year, which is atrocious, but you have to also take the good with the bad because Julius Randle has had 5 double-doubles in these 6 games that he's played. So to say that Julius Randle is trash, you are just being a surface-level fan. I can't say that Julius Randle's trash. But what I can say is he's got to work on that offensive efficiency. And that comes from if you have some type of fucking offense, Tom Thibodeau. I think that, yes, we can create fast break opportunities off the defensive end. But you can't be solely reliant on your defense. You got to have some sort of pick and roll offense. You got to have some sort of motion on the outside, some drop, penetrating kick, some type of offense. But to be able to just dribble the ball down, give it to your star player, and let them score, it's not sustainable. And we're tired of seeing it as Knicks fans, especially in clutch time. When I was looking it up, I was talking to TK about, what is the criteria for a clutch player? Clutch time and all these clutch categories. But when it comes down to it for the Knicks, we don't put ourselves in enough of these clutch situations because of the fact that we're playing this isolation basketball. So when it comes down to it, I'm looking to, when we go to Madison Square Garden, yes, I would like to see James Harden make his appearance as a Los Angeles Clipper. That's going to be great. But as a Knicks fan, as somebody who's tired of seeing the same Knicks outcome, they always talk about, if you want different results, you got to move differently. Well, motherfucker, I want to see Tom Thibodeau make some adjustments so that our time is not wasted taking that NJ Transit train to Madison Square Garden. I think that, yes, I love wearing the blue and orange. One of the most great things that Doc did got me the new City Edition jersey. Shout out to Doc. I got the best girlfriend in the world. And I wear those blue and orange proudly. I'll love to take the train to go to Madison Square Garden. But damn it, make it worth my time. I'm tired of seeing the same old New York Knickerbockers come down to crunch time playing this stupid isolation ball that don't work. It doesn't work. And I guarantee you, if you pull any type of Knicks fan that's had to watch this New York Knicks basketball for the last 6 games, you'd be doing a disservice to your time. And I think that's why you have this passion. That's why you have Knickerbockers who have people that love to wear that blue and orange. It means something to Knicks fans. So to have people that are that passionate about this team and to not do the disservice to RJ Barrett, who's averaging 21 points per game. Once we get him back, I know he hasn't been healthy. He's a game time decision tomorrow. I would love to see RJ Barrett back in a uniform because his growth is what we're looking for from these players like Jalen Brunson to take it to the next level, right? Because if we can get RJ Barrett to be an all-star caliber player, and maybe Julius Randle can stop pressing and can start playing some fluid basketball and get back to that MVP type of player that we know he can be, then we'll see this New York Knicks team take a jump. So let's see how the Knicks do defensively. I'd love to see them anchor things down on the defensive end. See Dante DiVincenzo, maybe get a couple steals from him. I'd love to see that from this Knicks team because when they're playing good defensively, then you're talking about a team that can be a top 5 caliber team in the Eastern Conference. But if you're looking at a team that can't defend and has no ball motion, and they're just going out there and giving the ball to Julius Randle or Jalen Brunson with no ball motion, I won't take the Knicks to win a single game. And you can count me on that. We got Tim says, I'd love to hear your opinion on that Zion RJ draft situation. Did we luck out? Of course we did. I will say this. Even though Playworks chewed me up and spit me out when they were done with me, the good thing that they did let me do was took me to the NBA draft. And I got to see the New York Knicks draft RJ Barrett live. It was a great experience, something that I was super happy about. And I think we dodged a bullet not getting Zion Williamson because what I've seen is I've been able to watch the progress of RJ Barrett, who, may I add, has been one of the most reliable players and someone you can count on to suit up a New York Knicks uniform every single time. And I feel like in the NBA where guys are constantly fighting for rest and not playing 82 games, I think it's an understatement to the value that we have gotten from an R.J. Barrett. And when you look at a Zion Williamson, who we've seen not even crack his potential because of lack of availability, is obviously a lack of return investment from the New Orleans Pelicans. And if that would have been us in New York City, you look at a guy in Porzingis who actually had, growth and did his time in New York, and we saw how quick he was cast away. Do you imagine if that was Zion Williamson? So I definitely think we dodged a bullet not getting Zion. Do I think the guy has massive potential? Yes. If he can get in shape, if he can prove that he can be available for a full season, he could be the next Barkley 2.0. But unfortunately, the NBA is not based on what you could do. It's about what have you done for me lately now. Especially in the vast, big time gaps that we've had in the early season, you're starting to see the production of these guys increase because these guys are stepping up. So if you can't step up, the next person behind you in that G League who's busting his ass, who's dropping 30 to get up to the next level, to take your spot, I think that's where, Zion Williamson is kind of lacked in his production because he truly did not have the sense of urgency but from someone behind him that could take his spot. So when you're sitting there on top and you're like, oh shit, ain't nobody touching me, how can you truly put effort out to get better? Are you going to truly push yourself if nobody's there behind you to potentially take your spot? I think that R.J. Barrett being in the bright lights of New York City, having that constant pressure, if you don't fucking show up, you're going to sit your ass on the bench, that has produced and that's made for the production from R.J. Barrett from a standpoint when we drafted him back when I was still in Playworks. So to say that R.J. Barrett is not a better caliber player than Zion Williamson from the duration of his time in the NBA, hell yeah, we dodged a bullet not getting Zion Williamson. Great question from my boy Tim Sikoria. And also, I hate to say it, but we don't have to worry about R.J. Barrett making some OnlyFans like maybe Zion Williamson has to, right? But I could talk about the NBA all day, but we got to get to this last slide. And that last slide has to do with the NFL. I want to get off here so we can watch some of this football game for sure. But I got a couple key notes from what I saw today. And first and foremost, talk about them Chiefs with a big win over the Miami Dolphins. Big time dub from the Kansas City Chiefs. But to say I was disappointed, I was very disappointed. Because when you go up 21-0 against the Miami Dolphins and then you don't score a point in the second half, it sucks because I feel like at times the Chiefs just take their foot off the gas pedal. And, that's not going to work against the 49ers in the Super Bowl. That's not going to work against a team that is in a much higher caliber than maybe the Miami Dolphins in the postseason.
Ravens.
The Ravens who put up 30 points plus multiple times this season. So, again, the Chiefs are looking good, but I want to see more aggression from the Chiefs. I want to see them beating guys by 40 because at the end of the day, I was talking to Jeff and I felt like it should have been much higher of a gap between us and the Miami Dolphins. That's just my opinion. And then we got to talk about the Cowboys losing a thriller to the Eagles. My biggest thing is this. Dak Prescott is the only person I know that can throw for over 300 yards, and we're still disappointed in his performance. Dak Prescott is a guy that, he just, it's tough to describe him because he has the potential. If you look at his stats, he has the production. He did what he could for that Cowboy team. But the thing that makes Patrick Mahomes elite, the thing that made Tom Brady iconic, the thing that made Peyton Manning an elite quarterback, was when it came down to crunch time, these quarterbacks could go win you a game. And I just have not seen from Dak Prescott in key situations Dak go win the game for you. Yeah, he could do it against a team that's not in the playoffs. He could do it at home against a fringe team. But when it comes down to a playoff caliber team, can Dak Prescott go on the road and win you a game? Yes, he's got the game-winning drives. I know we can pull up the stats. But it just seems like recently, in a league where it's what have you done for me lately, it just seems like Dak Prescott can't go out and win you the big game. I feel like we're making excuses for him, but I'm done. I'm done making excuses for Dak Prescott. The Dallas Cowboys will continue to be a great regular season team, but in the playoffs, you need a quarterback that can go win you the game. And this is just a mere representation of why the Dallas Cowboys are a great regular season team. Until they can find a quarterback that can go win them a game in a clutch situation, we're not talking about what you did before. We're talking about right now. And I'm serious. Dak Prescott, he can't do it. He can't do it. Just can't do it. If he can't do it against the Eagles, where else is he going to do it against? That's all I can say. Can he do it against the Lions? Come on, man. Come on. But I think it is without statement that we also have to talk about C.J. Stroud having a career day over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Woo! C.J. is proven he might be the best quarterback out of this draft for sure. Big shout out to my boy Linear. He says, "What's good, bro?" Big shout out to you, man. Thanks for tuning in. C.J. Stroud is definitely going to be a guy that if he's on your waivers at any point, he's somebody that you should be either starting or have him on your roster because, he's proven that to take that team down the field like he did in less than a minute. Again, how could Dak Prescott not do that? If C.J. Stroud can do that, his rookie team with the Houston Texans, then Dak Prescott has no fucking excuse. I'm sorry. He has no excuse. If C.J. Stroud can do it in his rookie year with that team, with the Houston Texans, and you got somebody to Dak Prescott who's got CeeDee Lamb, Ferguson, Michael Gallup, the running back, Tony Pollard, all of these weapons, and you mean to tell me that Dak can't get it done? We got to stop making excuses for this guy. Because if C.J. Stroud can do it, so can Dak. I'm sorry. But another thing, I was so close in the work football pool, but I will never make this excuse. I'll never make this mistake again. I picked the New York Giants. And I'm sorry, Ishabad Crane. I don't know what my dumb ass was doing. But I picked the New York Giants for the first time this season.
Oof.
And they got smoked.
College football team.
The only team that I got wrong this week. And I picked the New York Giants. I will never make that mistake again, Linear. I promise you that. The New York Giants are on my ban list. I don't care if they're playing USC Caleb Williams. I will not pick the New York Giants again. For them to lose against the Raiders, a team that has no quarterback, a guy that literally just, can he be the quarterback of the future? I don't know. But if you looked at him against the New York Giants, he looked like Peyton Manning. He looked elite. You might have thought he was Brock Purdy. But the New York Giants, I'm here to tell you, I'm sorry, Eric, if you're tuning in after the show, but your New York Giants are trash. The Giants suck. And, it sucks because I like Brian DeBoer as a coach. And I know that the Giants are riddled with injuries, but that is why this is the NFL. You will get no sympathy in the NFL if you do not put out a competitive product. And I'm sorry, but the Giants are not competitive.
Minnesota's quarterback is gone, and they're still winning.
Minnesota's quarterback is gone. Yes, and they got Joshua Dobbs. They traded for him.
Yes,
and they got the dub. And the Giants, even with a Daniel Jones who gets hurt, I know you can't, count out the injuries, but the Giants have to find a way to get competitive. I don't even think we could talk about playoffs with the Giants here. I think they just have to find a way to get a win. How can we get healthy? How can we get the New York Giants to get enough bodies out there to be competitive? That's what it's going to take for the New York Giants to even get to. I don't even think that the New York Giants can get to 4 wins this season. You look at that schedule. You tell me 2 teams the New York Giants can beat. Please, tell me 2 teams the New York Giants can beat right now. Because I can't tell you any. You go look on that schedule. Somebody in the chat right now, tell me 2 teams that the New York Giants can beat right now. I would be strongly surprised if the New York Giants get to over 4 wins this season. If there's a bet out there, make that bet. New York Giants under 4 wins this season. And maybe, just maybe, if the Giants don't get to 4 wins this season, I fire Brian DeBoer. Fire him. Because look what the Raiders did. They fired their coach, and they got the win over the Giants. And the Giants has a playoff team who won a team on the road. They won a game on the road.
Did they bench Garoppolo too?
And they benched Jimmy Garoppolo. They got a backup quarterback with little to no experience.
Sorry, Doc.
And they beat that New York Giants team. So again, if you ever see the New York Giants on any type of line, do not pick them. They won't win another game this season. I'm done with them.
Is that considered
I'm done with them.
Beating the brakes off of them?
So the next thing that we have here on the list, a big-time game, the Bengals against the Bills. I don't know which way I want to go on this one. The Bills is what I want to go with in my mind. In my heart, I want to say that the Bengals have been playing a little bit better. But if you want to put me on record, I'm going to take the Bills. Alternate spread them up to 2.5. That's going to be my play. I think the Bills, they're in a situation where they see the Chiefs might be extending out to try and get that first seed in the AFC. And I think that if the Bills want to stay, and the Bills are best at home, right? So I think that, for them to try and stay at the top of that AFC, this is going to be a big-time game for them. And I think they're going to show up against the Bengals. So I know it's going to be a big-time reminder from DeMar Hamlin when he had that injury. It's good to see that, he's recovered a little bit. But aside from that, still going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be a game that's going to come down to the wire. Obviously, I don't see this as a blowout. But if you ask me, I still got the Bills, man. I see that Josh Allen is somebody that, even though hurt, can still be effective and lead that Buffalo Bills team to victory. And then before I close out here, I'm going to give some free advertisement to my new job, this job that I've been working for the last couple of weeks. They're going to be having their grand opening this Saturday, November 11th, Cloud9 Dispensary. If you're going to want to pull up there around noon, we're going to have the ribbon cutting. Mayor's going to be there. We're going to have a bunch of giveaways, prizes. I know we have a food truck. The tacos are supposed to be everything that everybody's raving about. So if you have any time on Saturday, check us out, Cloud9 Dispensary, 12 o'clock noon. Like I said, the mayor's going to be there for a ribbon cutting. It's great to be a part of being able to set up that store from its infancy. And it's going to be a great celebration of all the hard work that we've put in and all the effort that we've done to put the best products out there for people. We took the time to fill out the right inventory. So, anybody that comes in, you're going to get a great experience. You're going to get great customer service. And you're just going to get a home time feel, man. So, I'm happy to be there. They've treated me like fam. I've learned a lot through just these last couple weeks in the industry. So, let's celebrate that and come through the Cloud9 Dispensary, 12 o'clock noon, Saturday, November 11th. Here we are, guys, the end of the show. I want to hop off the air because I definitely want to check out this Bills-Bengals game. I'm sorry, Brian, that my Chiefs had to take it to your Dolphins. But, hey, that's what the name of the game is. This is a what have you done for me lately league. And right now, the Chiefs are looking like that team to beat. And right now, it's looking like the Giants might be battling for the first pick in the draft. So here we are, guys. I love y'all. Always bringing you guys an episode of That Talk Show. You can check us out on talkthattalkshow.com, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, you name it. We're on all streaming platforms. Once again, guys, I thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is always going to be a show where you guys can tune in and always look forward to someone like Rodas, who I love seeing, him tuning into the show and asking questions. I always going to be here to give you guys my unfiltered thoughts. And the more interactive you guys are with the show, the better I can tailor what you guys want me to talk about, man. So if there's anything that you want me to cover on the episode, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to message me. Put in the comments on YouTube. Send a message on Instagram. I'm not hard to find, man. We're out here. So once again, I thank you guys for your support. I love you all. And this is episode 231 of the Talk That Talk Show. I'll see you guys next week.